Kill some mold, hydrogen peroxide. To kill mold, vinegar. This is the other ingredient. I walk through this area in Walmart and I sort of feel guilty. There's all kinds of panties around, hot looking women. I better get out of here. So I got this wall down and I got the wood, I saved the wood. So there's the wood from the wall. There's a lot of it. I'm cutting off the ends, anything that's rotten, and there's all of it's good. It has about 6 inches that I got to cut off. This wood is going to make a beautiful table or something. Absolutely beautiful. There's other wood over here. There's this wood too, and I would assume, I'm convinced that this was a grow room, 100%. As I'm looking around, this is an assumption. What they were doing was they would put the seedlings on this, and they would start germinating them here, and then as they got bigger, they would take the medium-sized plants, and I guess here, and then the large plants, like on this dirt floor, rock floor, sand floor, whatever it is. But this wood is fucking beautiful. And I want to make myself perfectly clear. I got no problem with anybody growing any weed. If I would have known this, if I would know that my neighbors were growing weed right now, would I call the cops? Hell no. I don't care. It's weed. If you smoke weed, that's your business. I'm not doing it. I would never smoke that stuff. No way. No way. Marijuana is illegal. I'm not saying that. It's clearly illegal in some states. I would never smoke marijuana. I'm not advocating smoking marijuana. I'm just saying that I wouldn't rat out my neighbor if they were growing it. I wouldn't give a shit. Who cares? It's a fucking plant, and it's not poppy seeds. It's fucking weed. Who cares? I'm fine with it. If any of you people are watching my videos smoke weed, that's fine as long as you're an adult and you're doing it in an area where it's legal. If you're a kid, stay away from drugs, okay? Just say no. No, that's how you say it. Hey, little Johnny, would you like some marijuana cigarette? No. That's how you do it. It's that simple. Table that would be, look at this. This looks like it was outside before they brought it in. So it has a lot of wear, and they brought it in and now it's all dried out. So that's great. Look at this stuff. This would make a great table too. Could incorporate this stuff. Look at how thick this is. This is real thick stuff. That's very, very pretty. That's gonna be really hot. And then I got another one down on this end. I made this birdhouse up here. I made that last night. And then I made this one with 2. And this one I'm going to put on the side of my house over here towards the back. All of them I'm putting in the front part of the house. Yeah, I made this. It's just out of just scrap that was lying around. So I'm putting them in the front because when birds their eggs hatch and everything, birds don't just fly out of the nest. They go down to the ground and sort of like do this thing for a few days, eating bugs and having their parents feed them. And that species is like the pigeon. It stays in the nest a long time. They're very immature, so they fly down to the ground. They can't fly real great. I don't want them in the back where the dogs are. So I have this one here with the porch, which is great. If a baby comes down to the porch, totally cool. And then I'm going to put one over on the side of the house. This one, the deuce. So this is where I'm going to put it. Now this area is not finished. I got all this finish work to do, but I have like these sort of like this moral dilemma of, what's more important? I mean, they were here before me. They didn't buy the building, but there's no reason not to respect the birds. I mean, come on. People are like, well, it's an invasive species, just rip the nest down, kill the birds. That's your deal. That's not mine. Seems like they should have some kind of rights. There on the wall, in the corner, It'll sort of be an eyesore. Who cares? It's a birdhouse. It's obvious what it is. I can upgrade it into something that looks nicer. I'm sorry. I like them. I've always liked them. I've always been a fan of brown sparrows. I cannot see not going out of my way for them. And these are the prototypes because I have a whole family. I mean, most of the tribe lives up there, like towards the, see how the soffit's sort of off and everything? They live underneath that. So this is my prototype because in the spring, I'm gonna deal with that. And they're gonna have to move. So my thought is, like, if I make a real long one of these and it looks real nice, I'll just leave it up there on that part of the house. See what I'm saying? But like the issue with there's not enough space right now, this has to be dealt with. I just can't see it, man. Do you know how miserable it would be? I do. I know how miserable it is to live outside without a house, and it sucks. So it's up. And the reason why I know that this is a good place is because the ones that are pushed out are roosting here. And I know that they're roosting because there's droppings right there. So this would be a good place. I would imagine this one will be utilized even before the one with 3 on the porch. But you never know. It's pretty cold. But I bet this afternoon somebody jumps on it and it sticks out like a sore thumb, but it's no big deal. Like I said, I had to whip these together, so I'll make something that looks nicer, but they can use that for this winter. And maybe this spring and next fall I'll make something that looks better. You know, because in the spring they have their babies. Once the babies are out, I'll pull that down and replace it with something that's more finished looking, but it'll work. It'll work. Sort of wish it was made out of wood. Wood would be warmer, or maybe not. They're gonna put nesting material in there. That's insulation. It's next to the house, which is warmer than outside. Okay, totally work. I can even see this one from my front window. Yeah, it'll work. Like I said, same thing. Like I'll make a better looking one at a different time. I just want to make sure that they got someplace. It sucks, man. You try living outside. How many people are going to see this that have ever lived on the streets? Not many. So this birdhouse I figured they'd go to right away. The one that's on the porch. Nobody's going in it yet, but it's only been 2 hours or something. I'm looking out the window and I'm seeing that they're on the perch and they're going in and out of it. So they'll start loading it up with sticks. Everything's great. However, I have another problem, which I probably would have had the problem anyway, because they're looking for places to net, you know, for winter. It's gonna get bitterly cold, so this is good. But the problem is that I have a hole in my siding here, right? And every time I look out the window, there's a brown sparrow hanging on the side trying to peck at the insulation and get in there. And that's what they'll do. The brown sparrows will do that. They can be destructive. If there's foam, they're just gonna get the foam out of there and they're gonna get back in the hole. Foam will stop a bat, no problem. Foam might stop a mouse. It's not gonna stop a squirrel. These sparrows, they see that foam, they know what it is. So there's foam behind that, and that's what he's doing. So what I'm gonna do, they're very smart. People talk about, oh, the raven, the crow, they're the smartest birds on the planet. These things are so smart, they're incredible. An invasive species, you know, like the starling, they're invasive, but I like them. I like starlings too. I had starlings living under this as well. So starlings, a lot of times, they'll stay in the cold. And then same thing with the brown sparrows. They'll stay here. And so the birds that migrate, they have problems coming back in, finding places to nest, because either starlings are taking their spots or brown sparrows. I know it's an invasive species. I made it for the invasive species. This is a sanctuary, brown sparrows. You can stay. I don't care. They're on the outside of the house. They're not doing any damage. Some other bird wants to live in there, that's fine. I might put up something back on the back side of my barn for starlings, because starlings, they'll come in the, like to the side where the dogs are, and then the baby birds, they don't just fly out of the nest. They come down to the ground for a little while. Causes a huge problem with the dogs. So I'll give them another place on the back side of the barn. So when the babies come out of the nest, then they can just go to the field instead of having to like try and make it to the field, you know, in my yard, which is, it's a hassle for me. So what I'm gonna do is just put liquid nails in that hole, and just so it's covered up, because this is a material that they won't try and pack, and this is all I really have right now. And if I don't do something now, he'll screw it up. The bird will just keep screwing it up. So I'm gonna make it appear that it's solid by using this. So I'm just gonna fill it. Now, you can smooth this stuff out with water. I don't have any, right? Now, it's not the ideal temperature to be doing this. It's not super cold, but it's not super warm either. But it doesn't really matter, because this is just temporary. I just need the bird to stop doing that. If you want to use, I have a house with 3 on the porch. Don't do that, birds. It's not that big of a deal. If I wouldn't have seen it and he would have made a hole, this is the deal. This is why I'm doing this right now. If he would have made the hole and started building a nest in there, he could have stayed for the winter. I know why he's doing it. Come on, it's right next to, it's part of the building. It's gonna be a lot warmer. There was a consideration when I made these nests that I did want the back of it, the back of the nesting box, to be metal, because I thought that maybe it could get radiant heat from the building. You know, whether that's going to work or not, I don't know. Also, I'm thinking that with multiple nesting boxes together, the birds themselves will generate heat and sort of keep the whole box. So it's sort of better than one. I don't know. Anyway. It's good. They're already going in there. They need to start getting grass and sticks and stuff in there, because it's gonna snow soon. But just because it snows, it's not gonna be 5 degrees for at least another month or a month and a half or something like that. Another idea that I had for a birdhouse was I found this. This is a old, looks like, to a refrigerator, you know, like a vegetable crisper. And I saw it, and I instantly I saw it, and I saw it as like an interesting object. So I picked it up, and then I'm looking at it as I'm building birdhouses, and it gave me an idea. And the idea was to actually use this as a birdhouse. Like if this was, say, hooked on like this, right, to a window, and you had a hole here, then the bird would go in here, and then you could watch it nest and have babies. You know, like if it was just, you know, on flat glass, I think even flat glass, it could just be siliconed on there, and that would be good. The outside could be dealt with. I also thought about doing it this way, which was like you would hear it like this, and this has a wood face, and then there's a hole up here. But the problem being that I want to be able to see the birds. I want to be able to see the birds and check on them and make sure that they're nesting. And this isn't totally clear. It's old and it's dirty. It might be able to be cleaned up and clear, but this would be like a straight shot. Now the thing of it is if I did it like this, they would go in there. It might freak the birds out. If they're looking in the window, they see me. But they would get habituated to me. And how I would do that is if they were going in and I had a curtain for this, and then I slowly brought the curtain up so that the birds that were inside living in here got used to me in small doses, they would stay in there and they would keep nesting. Like the chances are that if the nest is built in here, if I have the nest built in here, that as long as I take it up gradually over a week or two, they're going to stay. And if they have eggs, there's even more of a chance that they stay. I might even, like, because it's winter, if I use this or make something like this, oh, blue jay, I might just keep the curtain down the whole winter. They can go in there and winter, and then in the spring start raising it up, because that way they would get habituated to the sound. Like I can hear the TV right now. See what I'm saying? So they could get habituated to the sound, and then they could get habituated to the visual aspect of me walking around inside and me peering my face in that. The other option that I had was, I believe that they have some kind of mirror type film that I could put on the inside. So, do you know what I'm saying? Like it was, you know, I could see the bird, but the bird couldn't see me, something like that. That might be an option. I'm almost 100% sure that I could get a product like that and put the mirror side so that they see themselves, you know, inside this. I don't know. You know, I'm making art. This is the kind of art that I make, in case somebody's wondering. It's like, oh, well, Peter Kane's an artist. His Bigfoot shit is bullshit. Are you kidding me? This is the kind of stuff that I make. I don't have, honestly, the Bigfoot body parts, how could anybody think that anybody made those? Honestly. It's ridiculous. I would have to be a fucking genius to be able to fucking make something that looked that real. Those are real. My art, I do make some stuff, but it's like this, like birdhouses, some decoupage. My dad used to make decoupage. I like to do puzzles, you know, magic marker drawing, stuff like that. I'll make a sculpture, but it looks, you know, my sculptures look ridiculous. Those are real, okay? Those are real. The birdhouses, they're real too, but they're a birdhouse. Do you understand the difference? Yes, I make things. I can't make anything like that. It's ridiculous to even entertain the notion. This is the truth. I'm not a genius. I'm not even close. Trump, there's your example of a true genius. He's a genius. He could probably make Bigfoot body parts that looked real. That's a fact. Signs of any birds going up on this one, but the one over there, they're already going inside. I don't know if it's an issue because there's food right here. I just see this as like a really cherry spot. There's food and there's housing. What more could you ask for, brown sparrows? You know, this could fit a lot of them. It could. I made like, I put foam in each section, but didn't foam it up real good, so there would be some heat transference at the top. And so it's like they have that much space, and on that end, they can also get in that end, meaning that the end cap isn't totally capped up. So this one, they can go either in that hole or out the other hole. It's cherry. If I was a brown sparrow, I'd be in there already, and I'd be guarding my territory and telling them that you got to pay rent. This is my spot. They're aggressive. They're extremely aggressive. I've talked about these birds before. I've worked with them for years. You can legally deal with them because You don't need a wildlife rehabilitation license. It's an invasive species. It's an exotic species to our country, the brown sparrow. It's funny, but that's the truth. I think that they were brought and released in Boston, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a long time ago. I don't know the exact date, but they are in every state. They might even be in Hawaii. They are in every fucking, they're in Alaska. They're in Florida. They're in Texas. They're everywhere that humans are. Where they aren't, like grassy fields, they don't live in that. They don't live in woods. They don't live in heavily forested areas. You know where they live? They live in humans' houses or next to them. They'll live in a drain spout in your gutter if they can. They're very loud, they're obnoxious, how could I not like them? I was just contacted by a moron. He wanted to friend me on Facebook, and I didn't accept his friendship on Facebook, and I'm not accepting anybody's anymore. I don't need this. And he wanted to ask me a question. That's what it was all about. So he friends me, but then I see that he also sent me a message. So I didn't accept his friendship. And then I went to go see what he wanted in Messenger, and this is his question. He doesn't know me. He just, you know, we're not friends. I've never had one word with him. And this asshole asked me this. He says, can you overfeed a dog on raw diet? Yes, asshole. What, do you think that because it's raw diet, you could just feed the dog as much as you want? You're an idiot. You're the same idiot. And later, I said yes. And then he sends me back this thing that said, okay, because I was using this formula, 3 to 5% of your dog's body weight. By the way, that's stupid as shit, okay? That's stupid. That's not taking into consideration the dog's activity level, the dog's age. Takes into consideration nothing. You idiots can't even eyeball how much your dog needs to eat. So he has a 20-pound dog that he's feeding 2.5 pounds a day. 2.5 pounds of food for a 20-pound dog. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Seriously. You can't do math either. You got a 20-pound dog and you're feeding it 2.5 pounds of food? I wouldn't give my Labrador Ike, well, he could have 2.5 pounds of food, but he'd get fat on that. You got a 20-pound dog, right? You are a fucking idiot. You can't do math. I'm lousy at math, and I know that 3 to 5% of the dog's body weight is not, if it's a 20-pound dog, it's not going to be 2.5 pounds. What's the matter with you? I am pissed off. You shouldn't be doing that. Okay? A lot of times I put out videos trying to make a point. The point is you really shouldn't be contacting me, okay? You shouldn't. You shouldn't be contacting any dog trainer, even Jeff Gelman, that does Ask Jeff or whatever. He's giving you this, like, Spengali routine, like, put a leash on the dog, take the dog out more, and use a crate. You're not going to utilize it. Something like that, that's not the way dog training works. And dog nutrition, me answering, you're out of your fucking minds, okay? You want to switch the dog over to raw diet, but you did not even do any research. If this guy would have done research and not, I've already talked about this so many times. If you're looking for the answer on the internet, you're an idiot. If you think that your 20-pound dog is supposed to eat 2.5 pounds of raw diet a day, you're just an idiot. All right? Did you get it, lab partners? I don't want to answer your questions for free. I'm working. I have clients that pay. You're not paying. You're too lazy to even look on my channel. You're unrealistic. And real quick, we have 4 million dogs dying every year. 4 million dogs dying every year because we live in a society of unrealistic people. You're unrealistic about dogs. You're unrealistic about people. You're unrealistic about me. You think that I'm supposed to, oh, look, another answer, another question. I get to, you know, help this person. I have clients that pay me to help them, okay? There's
3,500 videos on my channel. I've done enough, okay? You can go look, you lazy pieces of shit. Go look on my channel. Where's Scorsese? Shouldn't he hire me? I'm a great actor. Seriously, don't you think that I should be on the big screen? I can act more pissed off than just about anybody. I have a very wide range. I could probably start crying. Fuck you.
This door is a old door that I pulled out of a dumpster in Brooklyn. It's an 8-foot wood door, real heavy, and I kept it around, and then there was nothing here. There was just some sort of screen door on the other side. So I hung this door some years back because I was like, well, this will keep the heat in this area of the house. So it wasn't as heated as it is, good as it is right now. Now it's insulated and it's really doing great. So what I did with this door was, this is a walnut stain and then an ebony stain, and I ended up getting a real rich color, and I'm gonna keep this dark. But this is the kitchen. This is gonna be the kitchen. So I'm thinking I don't want everything dark, and you have all this like tin ceiling that has a dark look to it. So I've started painting doors too. So this is a chalk paint that I used, and I'm gonna use chalk paint whenever I can, and I tinted the color myself, and it's a real nice. If you don't know anything about chalk paint or milk paint, I'm not talking about the person milk paint, but it's the driest paint. It's the most matte, dead flat finish you're gonna get on any paint. Is either a chalk paint or a milk paint. The milk paint is nice because you can see flecks of minerals in it and stuff, as long as you don't seal it. If you seal it, which they recommend, it fucks it up, and then you sort of lose that really super dead flat finish. It doesn't matter if you use a dead flat varnish or whatever, it takes it away a little bit. So instead I opted for using a chalk paint, which is a modern day paint that has, calcium or chalk in it, that you really get a really kind of dry touch. There is no shine, absolutely no shine. So I'm adding color, I'm doing this, and then I'm also pretty sure that the molding too, I'm gonna do the same color. That's a problem that I'm having right now, is deciding what color to do the molding here. Because like I don't know how doors normally look. Do they match the molding? This is gonna stay something, this wall and these walls are going to stay something like this. I'm going to go back into those walls and lighten them a whole lot by scraping them real good. But I mean, do you see what I'm saying? Like the whole kitchen area has a real dark feel to it, so I got to get some color into it. I'm even on this door, I think that I'm mixing up, now that I have this base coat on, I think I'm going to mix up a lighter similar kind of Wedgwood color, just to, I need lighter. I already have this door that I like that's super dark, but it's just too dark. This is like a pantry area. Remy likes to hang out in here, so do the other pigeons. I don't keep much food in here or anything. This I'm gonna paint like this Wedgwood or, whatever that color is. Same thing, I gotta get these decals off, which I've hated ever since I've been here. Like, these things they bug the shit out of me. Like, I cannot even imagine putting these up and thinking that I was making my house look better. This room, though, is a bright yellow. And I'm gonna do this room in a bright yellow. I think that would be good because there are no lights in this room. I think that it's going to look bigger no matter what. Even though that my walls are real dark like this, my kitchen area is going to look bigger for sure, just because there's no ceiling. There's like just a vaulted roof. I got light coming in on the kitchen a whole lot, and just because it's It looks better than when it had the paneling on. When the paneling was up, it was just like the whole room looked smaller, just all closed in. And clearly they tried to make it look bigger or give it a different feel by painting paneling. Never paint paneling. Yeah, you can find a paint that'll stick to masonite. It looks like shit. Come on, white paneling? Is that what you want? No, take the paneling off and deal with the wall. That's what I did, and that's what I recommend everybody do. Don't use paneling. I'm getting oh. These new bulbs, if you break the outside, they still keep working. And feather on there is gonna burn. They just keep going. I broke this one twice. Let's get that feather off. What's this? Oops. Going to Dandy to get, oh, Blue Jay. I'm going to Dandy to get some tea. I'm watching my porch. Here come the Blue Jays, and the reason why I'm watching my porch is I'm trying to figure out if the sparrows are gonna go in that box. If they're not gonna go in the box, I'm gonna give them about 2 days, and if I don't see a sparrow going up there, I'm gonna move it. It's just Blue Jays. I'm going to move it over to where the other box is on the side of the house because they'll definitely use it over there. I just figured it's a cherry spot. It's 2 feet underneath a roof, you know. We're just trying to think like a sparrow, like would I want to, yeah, hell yeah. The only issue is that this shouldn't be an issue. They're used to seeing me. I'm looking at, there's like, I can see the family underneath the soffit. There's one up there. They're used to seeing me. They're a very stable bird. Just thinking about Trump, of course. I'm not obsessed with him, but it's just like, you know, I mean, god damn, you know, as a Republican that thinks that he's horrible, you know, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible situation. He's not a good person. I was thinking about him, and I said to Ginia, and I go, I hate him. I hate him. And she said, well, I don't hate him, but that's Ginia. See, she's a chick, and she's like sort of more mannered than me. And she goes, well, I don't hate him. I don't really hate anybody. I don't have enough reason to really hate him. And I said, I do. I can't stand him. I have enough reason to hate him. And she said, that's okay. That's okay. She's as entertained by Trump. I'm just sort of looking for the downfall of Trump. She is too. Most of my friends are. I've had friends that have said horrible things, like sort of wishing ill upon him in the worst way. And said like they said like I really wouldn't care, and I did get this feeling of like sort of a sadness, but I understand the sentiment, like you know, Ginia, no way should say anything like that. These are like male friends of mine that are seeing chicks in pajamas. Like there's a woman that's right next to me that, man, those are obvious pajamas. Those are like adult pajamas with like a kid's print on them, and then on the back, like where her ass is, there's like this flap, and it says something like, I'm not kidding, it says something like time to have fun or something to that effect. The pajamas, they look Christmassy. They're Christmassy. There's Christmas trees. It's generally red and green. A lot of white open space, and I couldn't see what was written on. I think it was time for fun, like sort of like an old time flap of like a union suit, you know how it would unbutton and then they'd take a dump like that. But I keep seeing chicks in pajamas. Virginia 2 years ago was talking about like, yeah, I went down to pick up my food and I was wearing like pajama bottoms or something. I guess she's a trendsetter. Oh, they're making out in the car? This just happened. I'm in there and there's a dude that wants to pay for gas. He's an Asian dude, and he's in there with his buddy who's Asian, and they're paying for it with a government a credit card from the government, and they have a government car over here, and the card's not really working. There's some kind of problem, and then there's this old Yenta. Well, this is Beaver Dams. It wouldn't be a Yenta, but she's standing right there. And she's saying, I can see her mind working. She's a Trump supporter, and she's looking at the Asian dude thinking, well, he has a government credit card, and he had an accent. He had a slight accent. And she's looking at him and goes, well, you work for the government. What do you do for the government? And he goes, I do research. And she goes, oh, I understand, because you people are smart. That's what she said. And the dude, this is the truth, the Duck Dynasty dude that had the beard and the camo on, totally looked like a redneck, right? When she said that, he looked at me like this. He turned to me and goes like, what the fuck is this woman saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he got it, like, you know. But this lady was like, you know, she might as well have just said, how could you be working for the government? You're Asian. Do you know? Why does our government give you a credit card? You know? Looking at her and listening to her, like, grill this guy. I'm just standing there looking at the Duck Dynasty guy like, this woman is so clearly being offensive. Shut your mouth. He's saying the same thing with his eyes. Like, I can't even believe what I'm fucking hearing. Government car was not that fancy or anything. It was a Ford Escape is what it was. A hybrid, you know, it's not a cheap car, but it's not like super expensive. When I was watching yesterday on TV, like watching them take the van back, you know, the bomber's van back to wherever they take it to like vacuum it out and do whatever they do. They had an Escort, and the Escort was like really expensive pickup trucks. Like, they were all black 350. I was told that they were not 150s, they were 350, maybe Denali's or something. I don't know, but they were expensive pickup trucks. You were looking at like $45,000 car or something that the FBI has. How could you even? They had nothing in the back of the pickup truck. Why would they even have the FBI driving a pickup truck? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, I guess I'm being presumptuous, aren't I? I am. I'm being presumptuous. The FBI would have to pick stuff up all the time. They would. They have those research facilities and all that, you know, they might have to, like, you know, go pick up a new whatever, you know, bomb-sniffing robot. I take that back. It makes sense that the FBI would have some of those trucks. I was just sort of shocked that there wasn't anything that was more like, look, it's a cop car. The more I think about using the refrigerator crisper thing I found as a birdhouse for a window, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I like the idea. And I do think that I'm going to cut a hole in this. And then what I think I'm going to do is take it after the hole's cut, use a hole saw, cut the hole, and then I'll use like a rubberized paint to paint this white so it matches my house. And then I just have to figure out about adhering it to the window. I think to adhere to the window, I just have to, I might be able to use a product. It's not heavy. I might be able to use a product like one of these construction adhesives that is real strong and has a real thickness to it. Like Flexol glue is real thick, so it has a real good hang to it. So maybe I could do that, and also like bump up that edge so that it's more even with this top edge, or maybe even take the top edge and cut it down so everything's sort of flat. So I could stick it on the window, right? Glue it to the, right, this is my house. I'm not moving out of here. I don't care. Glue it onto the window, and do you know what I'm saying? And just tape it into position until the Flexol or whatever I'm going to use, whatever construction adhesive I use, sets up. I'm going to kill some mold, and to do that, you need hydrogen peroxide. Bleach doesn't really work that well. You want to use hydrogen peroxide, vinegar. Vinegar works. Hydrogen peroxide is key, though. You need to have a pump sprayer like this. So I'm going to put 4 of these large hydrogen peroxide bottles in this. And then I'm going to spray it around. This is good for porous materials, like say cinder blocks. I have cinder blocks in there that have mold. And for anything, the wood down here, it'll work for that. Now this, if you go to Walmart, you can buy these large hydrogen peroxide bottles for about 88 cents. They don't sell it by the gallon. If you want it by the gallon, you would have to go to a beauty supply store. They sell larger bottles, but I mean, you're talking, it's 88 cents for this big one. If you wanted to buy a gallon, you know, how many of these would it take? I don't know. I could figure it out, I guess, if I really gave a shit. But the point is, it's cheap. It's not expensive. Hydrogen peroxide's cheap. Even if I can't get it done with this amount, I'm going to go back and buy more, because I want anything that is moldy. I want it dead. I brought the humidity down in here, and now if there's any mold left, I want it dead. That's how it is. My house already smells different. It's comfortable down here. It's so much different. By the way, this is the truth, I put in a sump right there, right? I dug a hole, put in a sump, put a trash can down in it. This was when I first moved in the place, because I had water issues when I first moved in. I think one time I showed up and there was about 4 or 5 inches of water on the floor. So I put in these sump pits. There was already one right here. It's already dug out. It's got water in it. It's got an old, pump in it. I didn't buy that pump. It's in like a bucket you would put a keg in. If I have water issues, which I don't anymore because my neighbor went out in the back and removed stuff from this creek so that the creek will flow, if that ever happens again, I have 4 sump pits ready to go. So I'll just leave these like this. Maybe some of them will even turn on still. I think maybe those 2 are okay. This one, totally rusted out. It's not going to work. But the hole's dug, So, along with this, is that it? Oh, we got one more. Okay, so this is 4 in total. I might not use all 4. Yeah, I am. Okay, so that fills this up about 75%. The rest of it is going to be white vinegar. Now you could use white vinegar too. You could use white vinegar, and that will kill mold. You need to, like, if you're using bleach or something like that, it doesn't kill the mold down to the roots. So you want to make sure that you're getting in there deep. And this stuff, the hydrogen peroxide, it foams up, it goes in deep. The other thing that I'm going to add is a little bit of dish soap, just a little bit. I'm going to say about a tablespoon. That's it. And the reason why I'm adding that is because it sort of helps it sort of bubble up and foam up. It's not enough that there'll be residual soap down here, and I don't really give a shit if there was. It's the basement. I just don't want any mold in here anymore. I'm going to screw this on. I'm going to start squirting this concoction. Got to get this thing real tight. That's it. Cinder block wall sweats in the summertime. You can see this. See that white? I assume that that's some kind of mold. Right? So I'm going to spray this down real good. This does work better than bleach. Just spray it on and let it sit. So I'm going to go over this real good with the concoction because I definitely have mold on it. I also there's some floor joists back in this area that could use a good quick spraying. I don't want to totally soak down the wood, but I want to get this on all the cinder block and just let it sit and dry out. It's deadly to mold. You can see where I sprayed this door. See how it's bubbling up like that? That's what you want to see. Other areas, it's not bubbling up. It's the areas that bubble up like this where the mold is. And this is obviously working. It's working on the wood. See anything? See how it's down lower too? Because that's where the moisture is coming from. So that's where the mold problem is. On this door, it's mostly down at the bottom. See, up at the top, it's not too bad. But you get down here, die mold, die. That took a half an hour to empty that out. I went around the whole place. Am I done? No, I think I'm going to get more hydrogen peroxide and do it again on another day. I'm going to let this dry, go upstairs and work on some stuff. Just let this sit and dry and kill the fucking mold. It smelled different as soon as I got the humidity under control. Now it's really going to smell different. And I don't want mold in my fucking house. Fuck you, mold. This is the next day, and I have seen birds going in this nesting box. I saw a couple up there going in and out, checking it out. I also had put some dry grass in there, sticking out so that they knew. I don't know. I didn't have to do that, but they either pulled that out and they're going to put their own in, or they're rearranging it in there. So that's good. I also made a small one. And this is a small one that would go on the corner of a house. This is for a single, or for one nest. And I like this design. I could see making more of these. All these I've made out of just scrap I have lying around. One would attach to any corner, something like this. I haven't really figured out how to attach it yet, but I do like this design a lot. I wouldn't put it on the post. I'll put it on the corner of the house. I won't put it here. I will not put it here, but there's this vinyl siding that I think it adhere to real good. And I actually could put it up kind of high. I could make a lot of these and stack them sort of. They're very easy to make. This costs nothing to make. This was all just scrap that was lying around. I think it'd be good. The front of it, that's styrofoam, and then the reason why it's sort of pitted like that is that it's styrofoam, and I used a rubberized paint, and that stuff has some kind of ketone-like product that will melt styrofoam. So it's all dry now, If you don't want the styrofoam to melt, you can put a real nice coating of latex over it, but I just put one really quick coating of latex. I didn't want it to up. And I have the one on the porch. See how that bird was flying up there? They know it's there. They're going to use it. See how they all hang out on this grapevine? But the problem being this is that up there, see that around the soffit where I'm missing siding and stuff up there? That all has to be worked, and that's where most of the tribe lives, is up there. I have no idea if it's a status thing or what, but they live up there. So the plan is to make a real long birdhouse, put it underneath the soffit, would say maybe 12 holes or something, like a long one. Maybe it takes up that whole wall. So I'll put it underneath the soffit, so when I go up there to work, they'll already know that it's there. But in, say, before they're going to lay eggs, so maybe late winter, maybe in the spring when it's still cold and I don't think that they're going to lay eggs, I'll go up there with drywall screws and you put screws in that underhanging soffit stuff so that they can't go in there anymore, and they'll have no other option but to use the birdhouse that I made. And then I can work on the soffit. They can, if they're sitting on an egg, I could be working up there, right? If it ends up being a problem, I'll stop working up there and do it later in the fall. But I got, it's been a huge issue for me. It has, all this, like, I have like bird's nest in there. I couldn't work on that because I'm like, what? I'm sorry, I can't just take most people just take the nest out and throw it out on the ground. I can't do it. I have no problem with taking eggs away from my pet birds, but to screw some bird that's living, you know, underneath my soffit just because I need to get the house fixed, I have time to do this, okay? I just can't see it. I'm sorry. I know people are like, God, what a pussy. I'm sorry. It just doesn't seem right to me. They lived here before me. They did. They could still live here after I'm gone. I don't give a shit. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to just get out of here, bird. Fuck you. You know, it is an invasive species. You can do that with this invasive species or starlings, things like that. You can catch the invasive species and put them down. They're not covered under the Migratory Bird Act, in case you're wondering. Brown sparrows are not. Those were brought here by Europeans in the 1800s. So they're not, they're an exotic species. Those and the European starling, invasive species. So they're not covered under that. The Migratory Bird Act doesn't just have to do with migratory birds. It has anything to do with birds that are indigenous to the United States. They don't have to be a migratory species. It could be, you know, like I don't think cardinals migrate. They stay around all winter. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not a migratory bird, but it's covered under the Migratory Bird Act. You cannot mess around with any species that is indigenous to the United States. If you find a baby bird, leave it on the fucking ground. You're going to take it home and it's going to die. And flat out, listen up. If you see a baby bird on the ground and it has all its feathers, you get the fuck away from that baby bird. Baby birds, including these brown sparrows, this is very common with brown sparrows, they don't just fly out of the nest. They don't. They fly down to the ground and then they fly up. So they hang out on the ground for like a day or two, getting underneath bushes, eating bugs, letting their parents feed them. That's how it is. So when you see that baby bird and you pick that bird up, you just fucked him. See, I think you could tell here, like, see up there, see that hole? They climb in there. And they also do the same thing there. There's a bunch of nesting material in there. It's going to be a hassle. I'm going to have to figure out some kind of way to bring a plank from the peak of the roof so I have something to stand on. Maybe figure out some way to secure a ladder here and then the plank can go on that. But this is sort of always been an issue for me, like trying to fix that because it's high. It is high, but I guess I'll just do it with an extension ladder and be careful. Make sure the ground's real level. Yesterday when I came to Walmart, they had one bag of chicken. So I had enough chicken to feed everybody, but now I don't have any. So I'm back at Walmart where I'd rather be working on stuff, but I do want to get more hydrogen peroxide because boy, that shit is making such a difference. My basement smells so much different. I'm going to buy 5 more bottles of the hydrogen peroxide. Now, Milk Paint and Wood Boy had a mold problem too, and they use hydrogen peroxide, and Milk Paint said that she used clove oil, and I like that idea because that has like a smell to it that's kind of nice. I also thought about adding tea tree oil, but I don't know if Walmart sells that kind of. I'm going to look around, and I might throw some of that in there this time. But this, like last night when I sprayed it all down, it sort of made everything sort of musty smelling, but everything's dry this morning, and it smelled like totally different. I think some of that has to do with the vinegar. The vinegar has a sort of like nice smell to it. So I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it again. I might not do it today, but I'm gonna get some hydrogen peroxide. It's 88 cents a bottle. 5 bottles, it's still under $5, and it improves my basement immensely. I'm in the like herbal section. Oh, essential oil. That's what I want, right? Man, that's expensive shit though. Tea tree oil is $6 for this little fucking bottle? Are you kidding me? Shit. Well, they have clove, and it's empty. What the fuck? Maybe I'll wait. I'll get the clove, like Milk Paint said. I'll buy this today. I'll wait until this gets replenished. Well, this Himalayan pink salt, I like to eat it, yes, but this seems like a scam. It's saying that it purifies the air? Come on. Emits soothing glow, right? A natural air filter. It's claiming a lot. Combats harmful ions. Give me a fucking break, okay? But these, the colored ones, I sort of like these. These are better. How much? These are $16. I'm not paying $16 for this. I'd rather pay $6 for my clove oil, and I was too cheap to fucking do that. Come on. And oh, I see. Oh, I was like, well, how come they all look the same? That'd be very easy to do. They could just crank it out underneath some kind of computerized thing and just cut the salt, you know? I'll tell you, I do want to sort of add something to the hydrogen peroxide concoction, but hydrogen peroxide is a photochemical, so you have to be careful what you're adding. I'm in the pet section, actually. I was thinking, you know, odor and stain removers, like this is $4. I'll just use hydrogen peroxide. Seriously. You kill the smell. If you kill the mold, the smell goes away. And it already, like, I was like, wow. It smells so much different. I can do that and then use the hydrogen peroxide, and then if there's still some kind of lasting odor, maybe I put that in there and spray that. But then I'm getting it wet and running the risk of like creating more mold. I'll just leave it. It'll dry out just fine. By the way, while I'm here in the pet section, these training pads, they train your dog to take a dump and piss in your house. You're gonna buy them for the rest of your life. Don't let your puppy even smell one of those once. They have an attractant on them that smells like shit and piss to your dog. You're telling your dog to take a shit and piss in your house. Does that make sense? Get your lazy up and start taking the puppy out right away. You want some excuse so that you don't have to take the dog out? There is no excuse. Don't get a dog then. Try a cat. Better yet, get a goldfish. Why would you buy the small one when these are $2.28? The small one's $1.50. They're giving this shit away. Seriously. I've not seen those in years. The last time I saw these, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was stoned, and I was over at my friend David's house, and I was eating these with A1 sauce on them, and they were delicious. They were real good. You would think that Walmart would sell sticky buns. They do not. They do. Come on. Jesus Christ. No genuine banana pudding. It's not rice pudding. It's not even close. Got Remy in the car, so I'm gonna get her some mashed potatoes and gravy. I'll eat the part with the gravy, and then she gets the rest. She loves them. She gets them on her beak. She just looks adorable. I don't like to give them to her all the time, but every now and then, you know. Look, they have gourmet food here. This is Walmart's gourmet food. I'm getting the lobster cake. A bag of chicken juice was dripping all over, and the woman that was in the self-checkout area was like, "Oh, your bag of chicken is dripping blood or something." I'm like, "Oh, you know, what do you want me to do? It's you're the Walmart has the crappy bags, or Purdue makes the bags so they leak." So she says to me, she says, "Don't worry about it. This happens." And I said to her, I said, "Don't worry about it. I'm not worrying about it." If it was genuine, she'd be freaked out. She'd be like, "Look, I have somebody picking up my chicken juice." Hell no. I'm in Walmart. I have no problem with it. And they started picking it up right away. It's not my responsibility. I'm not worrying about it, Walmart. There she goes. She's checking out her mashed potatoes. See? That is a cute bird. I love you, Remy. You're awesome. I do. I love this bird. She's fucking great. She get it all over her face and look super fucking cute.